Okay, iClick Training and Information Series, Episode 2. What we're going to deal with is iPod, or the mounting of the iClick onto your tripod, and obviously a bit of information about selection of your tripod, because those are two very important things before we get underway and start taking photos. Okay, what we've got is, as far as the mounting up the iClick, we've tapped and created two holes on your iClick for you to mount up and put on mounted onto a standard tripod. So standard mounting here on your tripod it's a 1/4 inch UNC, I think, is the screw, and that's standard pretty much across every single tripod across the world. So keep that in mind. That's it. Now, this little tripod here, I picked it up in Asia some time ago. A couple of important things about selection of tripod. One thing is, and this one's actually a little bit short, I like to carry it around because it's very light and very flexible, and but it doesn't have quite enough height, really, in my opinion. What would be really good is to actually have one that's going to get you up so that your actual camera and your iPhone is mounted at eye level, and that's going to give us a really important photographic quality, in that the iPhone operating and taking the full sphere of photos in PhotoSynth. It's going to give us a full sphere around at eye line. It's going to appear very natural to the person who's then using and looking at that panoramic photo. So wherever possible, do it at eye line and select a tripod that's going to get you up that high. So anyway, this one's great, fits into a bag, away we go, I love it. Now, the other thing that's really, really, really important is we've gone to a lot of trouble with the iClick holder to ensure that the lens is absolutely perfectly placed in the centre of the device, so that we don't get any parallax error, and that's really, really important. So the other thing that's really, really important then in terms of your tripod selection is that screw then also swings around, because we're going to use the pan action on the actual tripod. We're going to make sure that that screw is centre position as well, so that the whole device is operating over the very centre of the tripod, and that once again is going to really help us get rid of any last bits of parallax error that we might get, which otherwise might come up as misjoins or mistiling when the actual application is putting together the full sphere of photo in PhotoSynth or whatever panoramic app you're using. So really important that centre screw. And when you go into the camera shop, or when you're looking at tripods, best thing to do is use your eye line here and just get down at eye line and line it up with something behind you, single eye probably as well, and then just look as you spin it round to see whether there's any movement against the wall or some object behind you, and that's going to very quickly tell you that the tripod's mounted correctly, or is going to provide you the correct sort of mount. So really important, ensure that you do that. Then, of course, we've got the option with the iClick, we've got a horizontal mounting here, so we can actually use it for doing filming or photography and standard landscape type orientation. That's just for that purpose, just for still photography or video taping or those sorts of things. So we've done that as an accessory type point to make this unit just a little bit more functional, a little bit more useful for you. Otherwise, the most important one, and you'll see that it's offset here from the centre, and that's an important thing once again in terms of the removal of parallax. And on this particular tripod, we've got the ability to just line that up with we've got a little bit of refraction happening there inside the acrylic, which is just throwing me off a little bit. But we're just making sure we nip that up tight, not overly tight. Acrylic, in terms of the thread that we've got in there, and you can see it, is fairly good for tapping, as they say. So in terms of putting a thread into it, but we don't want to over tighten that. And once we've got that in place, we've got our iPhone or our iClick in place on top of the tripod. We'll get into some more in terms of the photography fairly shortly, but that's really important that you do nip that up tight. And the other thing that's probably also rates a comment right now is when we're using our iClick, we want to make sure that the actual unit's completely upright. So if we've got the opportunity to lock off the horizontal setting here, we're actually going to lock that off so that it's in the stalk here in this one. So we're not going to do this sort of thing when we're operating the iClick. We want to lock that off so it's going to work, and it doesn't quite look like it there, does it? Let's just go a bit more like that. Okay, so it looks right for you there. And so that the unit is absolutely upright, so that as we spin around, once again, that lens is kept in the centre position using the pan option or the pan handle on your tripod to do the actual panning around. And then obviously the action there is the thing that's going to provide us the up and down as we go around. All right, great. That's enough for this training session. Let's move on to the next one.